Hello. Today I thought I would create a cue inspired by Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein's score for Stranger Things. I think we're all aware of what Stranger Things is at this point. It's been going for about 10 years, and at the time of recording this, we are halfway through season 5. So to go about this, I decided I should do some research. I've been listening to the cues from all 4 seasons so far non-stop. Plenty of videos on YouTube, some great interviews as well. A standout one for me that really helped me for this was Synth History. If you're not aware of Synth History, they curate some fantastic interviews with amazing artists talking everything synths. Synthhistory.com is the best place to see those. And they also do zines, which I really love. Really well made and curated really nicely. No affiliate, I just really like what they do. Kyle and Michael were interviewed about Stranger Things and the score itself. In there, they were asked what some of the synths were on the show. Kyle responds with, the core sound set of Stranger Things is probably the Prophet 6, ARP's 2600 Odyssey and Solus, Oberheim Matrix, Tape Echo and Spring Reverb. So my plan going into this, as I don't have a Prophet 6, any ARPs or Oberheim Matrix or Tape Echo, I decided my approach would be I'm going to utilise Yuhi's Diva and Repro, which definitely have some analog sound to it and a sort of standout synths that are usually my go-to anyway. As well as I have 2 synths that I'm going to layer in there to add some actual analog sound from the Korg Prologue, and I do also have a Korg Op6, so that'll give us some of that 80s FM sound that I associate with 80s synth music. For effects, I think I'm going to be using a lot of chorus for width, on pads and basses usually is my go-to for that. And then the tape echo used in Stranger Things, I'll likely be using UAD's Galaxy Tape Echo as well as Soundtoys Echo Boy. Surprisingly, for this research made me realise I don't have a Spring Reverb plugin. It's not something I've ever really thought about. So if anyone's got any recommendations for Spring Reverb plugins, let me know. But my go-to for cool reverbs was Valhalla Supermassive. That's free if you didn't know. So if you need reverb, that's the one to get. As well as Soundtoys Superplate, I think both are fantastic. Something I love about the score for Stranger Things is it can be really small in those like love themes that we hear, and they really reflect the emotional character or the story arc of what is going on. I think they do it really well, but then when it needs to get mean, big and menacing, it does it in a very unique way, which is, stand out for not just the score, but for the show as well. So it's a fun challenge. So for the cue, I want to start small, like a love theme, progressively get bigger into sort of what becomes a standoff, usually picturing 11 with a hand out and nose bleeding. If I was a better video editor, my nose would be bleeding, but I'm not, so with all that said, here's a little time-lapse and performance of me making the track. Let me know what you think. Enjoy.